I've been procrastinating getting a haircut for like, I think 3 weeks now, but we got hats. So let's just, wait a second, try that again. We got hats! There we go, that's better. Fuck it! I'm betting you're probably like me. You spend a good chunk of your free time here on YouTube, and if that's the case, I imagine you have considered creating your own YouTube content. I have picked up a few things over the years of doing this whole thing, and I want to share some of these tips with you guys. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Izzy, and this is the Izzy Nobre Show. I think the first thing we have to get into when we're talking about creating videos for YouTube is gear. Now, before I get into this, I want to preface by saying that I'm a firm believer that gear only gets you so far, not even all that far. Like I've given this example in a video about this kind of, YouTube production before. The #1 YouTuber in Brazil, and in fact he's bigger than a lot of the big North American YouTubers, this guy named Whindersson Nunes. He shoots his videos with a GoPro. He doesn't even have a tripod. He just props it up on place. Again, 14 million subscribers, and he's doing it with the bare minimum when it comes to gear. So the main thing I want to tell you is that gear is not as important as you're making it out. So if you have a camera, this is an old camera of mine. This is not a DSLR. This is just a point and shoot that happens to look like a DSLR. This is the first, better camera. I used to use just my phone to shoot vlogs. And the phones we have nowadays are more than capable of making these videos on YouTube. So I would say don't go out and spend a lot of money on something that you don't even know how to use yet. Start with what you have. If you have a GoPro, if you have just a cell phone, shoot videos on that. What you're saying is more important than what you're saying it to, if that makes any sense. The camera I used, fuck, let's put this down before I break it. The camera I use for these videos is a Canon 70D. It's a decent DSLR. It's what people call a prosumer camera. It's more expensive than the average person would probably pay for a camera, but it's nowhere near close to professional, so people call it prosumer. It's a decent enough camera for what I do here, but at the end of the day, I don't think I even really needed it. I think I got tunnel vision, thinking like, I need a better camera, I need a better microphone, I need all this and that. But try to remember this. Gear only gets you so far. Now, what to talk about? You can literally talk about anything, and the internet is such a big place, you're bound to find people, or rather, they're bound to find you and like your take on things. You can start with just things you're passionate about. As you can see back here, I'll give an example. I collect Game Boys. I grew up wanting one, never had one. Now that I'm an adult with some disposable income, a lot of it goes towards my little Game Boy sanctuary over there. So I've done videos on that, on old school gaming, on portable gaming, not so much on this channel, more on my Brazilian channel. Talk about anything that interests you. Did you see a movie recently and you have some thoughts about that? Make a video about that. Is there anything going on with the world that you care about, or you have an impression on, you have a certain insight about? Make a video about that. You can literally make a video about anything. I would recommend you don't focus so much on trying to find those trendy topics that everybody's talking about, whatever. The fucking lights. Shit! In the beginning, don't focus so much on chasing a certain trend. It's important to know what's going on, to capitalize on those things, but in the beginning you need to really build up that confidence speaking with the camera. It's not as easy as a lot of us make it seem. To a lot of people, a lot of the newcomers, it's a little intimidating to be talking to a camera like this. So I say don't, just talk about anything that moves you, that you have a passion for. Did you just read a book recently? Like it could literally mean anything at all. Now about delivery, this I think is very important. The way we speak in real life when you're talking to somebody is not quite the way we talk here when you're talking to a camera. You gotta ham it up a little bit. There is a level of a certain performance. You don't. Otherwise, if you do a video, and I think you'll come to find this out. If you do a video and you're speaking to the camera in the same tone and rhythm and manner in which you speak in real life when you're talking to a buddy, the video comes across a little bit stilted and a little bit monotonous. You have to ham it up a little bit. You have to act out a little bit just to make it a little bit more interesting. Now, I'm not talking about jumping around and jump cuts every other word. I find that extremely annoying. Maybe you disagree, but I'm not a big fan of relying so much on jump cuts. Try to think about what you're gonna say so you can use that technique as little as possible. People who like jump cut in between sentences, it gets annoying extremely fast. On the matter of length, people's time is precious. It's perhaps the most important resource we have. You can make some more money, you can buy new things, you can buy more food, all the things you need, all the things that have value in your life, they come and go. Time only goes. You never recoup time. You have a finite amount of time, and because of that, you should respect people's time. So I personally, when I'm finding out a new YouTuber, I usually stick with, and again, I think this is a good point to bring this up. I'm no expert, I'm barely a professional at what I do here on YouTube, so I don't want you to hear these tips and hints and my thoughts on this, on content production, like it's some kind of irrefutable gospel. This is just my impression, things I notice over the years, and how I behave as a video consumer, so to speak. So on the matter of time, I would say, at least in the very beginning, try to keep your video nice and short. Get to the point, don't ramble on too much, because people's time is important. If people click on your video and it's like 20 minutes of somebody that they never saw in their life, unless they're very interested in that topic that you're talking about, most people will probably check out after like the first minute or so. So try to keep it brief, that's what I'm saying. About money, there is a way to make a living here on YouTube. I don't make a living entirely on YouTube. I make a decent amount of money here, and somebody's texting me. I make a decent enough amount of money on YouTube that I live a comfortable lifestyle. But I still need a full-time job because I don't make enough on YouTube and everything else that I do on the internet that I can live exclusively off of this. Making a living on YouTube is not as easy as some people make it out, and you should absolutely not get into the YouTube game, as it were, to make money. Not even to make a little bit of money. Only get into this if you are passionate about communication, about talking to people, about establishing a connection with people, about exchanging ideas, because you're not going to make, realistically speaking, you're not going to make any money anytime soon, and even if you do make a little bit of money, it'll be a negligible amount of money. So do not get into this thinking that you're going to make a career out of this. It could happen, but that'll only happen if you're passionate about talking to people, about telling stories, about giving helpful hints. That's the only way that you'll keep doing this for a long enough amount of time that you'll be able to be rewarded for your time and effort doing this. So that's it. Gear, shoot with whatever you have. Don't get too caught up on, I want to buy this camera or this microphone or this whatever. The best camera is the camera that's always with you, and that's your phone. So shoot with your phone. Content, talk about things that interest you, things that move you, things that you have some insight to give. Keep it brief, at least in the beginning. People's time is valuable, and they're not going to give you that much of it, so keep it brief, keep it condensed. And I think there was a fourth one. I'm terrible. I forgot what I was saying. I'm terrible at summarizing things, but you got the idea, right? If you have other helpful hints, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. I'm very curious to hear what your guys' take on this whole creating content for the internet. Because again, I'm no expert, dude. I'm not even that big as far as YouTube goes. These are just the things I've noticed and the things that I found helpful to me. That's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done. Fuck, I really need to get a haircut. Wow.